Hello, I'm Anna McKerrow. This is my Magical People series, and I'm very happy today to be here with Tiffany Wardle. Hello, Tiffany.
Hi, morning.
Hello. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell me a bit about you?
Sure. I'm Tiffany and I am an intuitive healer. So I have clients across the globe on video and in person when I can, and sometimes on email and on text, where I intuitively read them, where I look at their future using clairvoyance. I speak to their guides, sometimes their angel guides, sometimes using mediumship with family members who have passed, and sometimes other guides that come forward. And I'm also a healer, an intuitive healer. So although I have learnt many healing modalities over the years, some of your viewers may know Reiki, for example. I have learnt different types of healing. However, I now use Tiffany healing, so intuitive healing. Yeah, exactly. So nice. I've learned that it's like the same energy we use to do readings you can heal with. It's just about molding it and using it in a different way. So an intuitive healer, people would call me. It's quite a modern experience from the old-fashioned kind of clairvoyance with the crystal ball and all that. It's a lot more modern these days, and you'll find it's quite interesting because a lot of business people and modern people, if you like, and young people do use intuitives these days to kind of see how their energy is and see where they're going in life.
Yeah, and I mean, I've had readings with you, so I can attest to how amazing they are, and how just how accurate you are. Also, FYI,
thank you. Well, I'm glad you said that.
Super accurate and super insightful, and it's a very interesting experience. Can you talk us through? I don't know, for people who haven't had any experience of anything like that before, when you sit down with somebody virtually or in person, what actually happens for you? So
it's so interesting, Anna, because when I meet people in a social environment, and if you ever say I'm a psychic or an intuitive, they kind of go, oh, tell me what you see. And I say, no, we have to be sat down during a reading. And to me, it's like a light switch that goes on. So first of all, don't worry, if you ever meet me, I'm not going to start reading you, because people just kind of look a little bit nervous. No, we have to be in that environment. So first of all, people will ask me for a reading, and then it's like a light switch that goes on in my head. It really is as quick as that. It's like a download that comes automatically. And as people talk, I use their voice vibration to read them. So you may see other readers with cards or crystals or some form of instrument, whereas with me, I just use your voice or your vibrations. So people could say, talk about the weather, for example, and I will be able to read their vibration. Their guides will come forward. Some of the guides will be angels, some will be ascended masters, and some will be people who have passed over. And then I will get an automatic download. And then inside my head, so what we call the third eye, which is here, right in the middle of our two eyes, I will see a film of people's lives. And so when I'm talking to people, I may start to look over there and I'll watch the film. So I don't know if you've ever seen me do that yourself. Because I'm watching a film of their life, and then I'll relay back to them what I see. I won't understand what I'm seeing because I obviously don't know this person. I don't know what their life is about, but I will then kind of describe the film that I see, and people often look very confused. What's that? And I'm like, just take the information. And then about 6 months later, they'll say, oh, it makes sense now.
That's fascinating. And how did you come to do this type of work? Is this something you could always do, or did that develop over time?
So when I was little, I knew I was psychic when I was 2 or 3 years old. I used to say things, but apparently all of us are psychic. And I believe that strongly, that we're all psychic. And to me, it's a bit like driving a car. If you keep doing it, you get better at it. And that's why I've written books about how to become more psychic, because I personally believe that all of us have an intuition that we should all be using. And that intuition will help us be guided to a better life, if you like. So what I do is I started to see the future when I was a little kid, and then I think it's drummed out of you as you become more scientific and you go to school, and my parents were like, you're you're going to be a lawyer. And so I studied law at university, and I forgot about that side of life. And then I had a very normal job. You know, I was working for a newspaper, and I sat at the newspaper one day, tapping away, working in advertising, and my hands just started to burn. And when I say burn, I don't mean like a little bit of pain. I mean, like I went to hospital, and they just did not know what was wrong with me. I felt like I was allergic to something, or there was something really wrong inside. And it was actually my mum who said, "I think you're a healer." I said, "What's that?" I had no idea. And the moment I started to learn about healing, the pain went away. So I thought, oh, I'm going to be a healer. And I left my very business background, left that to one side, and started to learn about healing. But as I learned to be a healer, it just opened up my third eye, and I couldn't help it. I could not help but start to see these other beings that other people could not see. And it took me on an incredible journey for 10 years, literally flying around the world, learning about different angels, different beings, different ley lines, different energy points around the world where I could download different types of information. To me, it became a fascination. It really did, which kind of led me to becoming the intuitive I am today.
Yeah. Wow. What a story. My God.
Yeah.
You should definitely. Yeah. Well, I was going to say you should write a book, but you have written books, but already that's done. And I know, because when I met you, I don't think you had long come back from California, and you'd been at Mount Shasta, or
Yeah, that's
probably
right.
in a couple of years before then, downloading about Lemuria at that point, I think.
Good memory, Anna.
I have got a good memory.
Yeah, you have. I've climbed Mount Shasta a couple of times because I kind of search for the chakras around the world. As some of your viewers may know, we have chakra points on the body, which are energy points where we gain energy. There are also these energy points around the globe. For example, there is one in Glastonbury, which is the heart chakra of the world. And I know you know that, and I know it calls you sometimes, doesn't it? The same way it calls
very
me.
much, yeah. At the moment,
And
especially because I can't go there.
It's kind of like, it's calling, isn't it? And you just can't go.
So frustrating.
But yeah, there is one at Mount Shasta. And this download kind of gave me a lot of information about Atlantis and Lemuria, and it gave me so much information. And I found out that if I don't write this information down, I was just going to be bombarded with these energies and kind of with these guides, and they would follow me around. And I was like, I don't really know why you're following me. And I thought, this is very strange. And other people obviously couldn't see what I was seeing. And then you question your own sanity. And then I realized if I started writing down what they told me, they would go away, and then someone else would come and tell me more. So I learned a lot about Atlantis and Lemuria when I went to Mount Shasta. Fascinating experience.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, I could, I really want to hear more about that, but another time. That's amazing. So tell me about what does life look like for you, like on a daily level? So you are a professional medium and psychic. That's what you do for a living.
Yeah,
it's your work and your passion. What's like a typical day for you?
I feel really lucky that my hobby became my day-to-day. I thought to myself, when I was a business person, I thought to myself, what would I do with my life if money were never invented? And this is a kind of a nice little tip for your viewers as well. And what would I do on a Sunday night or on a Friday night? What would I love to do? And the answer was work with spirituality. So if your viewers ask themselves that question, you kind of then can start integrating your passions into your day-to-day life. So I started out as professionally full-time about 15 years ago, and now there's a big waiting list. Now I'm very busy, and I work with people all over the globe on video, and they don't have to say too much. I just get their voice download in the beginning, and then I start to see their future. I've learned that if you do too much of this work, you definitely get exhausted. So my day-to-day life, I actually live in about 10 acres of woods where I live. I manifested a house that was around trees so that I can go and re-energize myself after each client in the woods or in the tree. It's very important to get that balance if you do this kind of work, because you're giving so much of your own energy that you kind of need to re-energize from nature. So I feel so lucky to be surrounded by nature, surrounded by beautiful energies here on lovely ley lines, but also to be working with clients all day.
Well, and are there practices that you do for yourself? Are there kind of grounding and connection type activities that you might do on a daily basis?
Absolutely. Not only do I have my own intuitives that I go to just to make sure my energy is okay, because in my job, I could be doing a house energy clearance, which means making sure the energy of a house is at peace. And that can be grueling work. Or if you're working with a particular client who has been through a lot, that can also be very taxing on your own energy. So you must ground. And you must re-energize yourself. And also it's a good idea to cleanse and maybe to check in with another intuitive, just to make sure you haven't taken any of that energy into yourself and that it's all disappeared. So it's a good idea to ground. What that means is putting both feet on the ground, preferably in the trees or on the earth, and letting the energies dissolve into the ground, and then it transmutes and turns into love. So it's very important to protect yourself, cleanse your energy, and also get rid of other people's energies if you've taken that on board.
Yeah, and I think it's the sort of thing that you're doing it as part of your sort of spiritual hygiene, but in a very necessary way. A lot of people wouldn't ever think of doing anything like that because it's not part of their daily life, and yet we all as humans are kind of like sponges, and we'll take on the energies and the things from other people, and it is a really, really good thing to do, if I guess even if not daily, then at least regularly, and there's so many ways you can do it, aren't there? So you can ground with your feet on the ground and maybe do a meditation. I do salt baths quite a lot as well. I'm quite keen on that. That's a good one. Plus, mostly because I like baths, but the salt is good, isn't it? And I just wish that was something that more people knew about, because I think it would be like a helpful, easy practice to do.
There's a couple I tell all my clients to do, and the salt bath is great. It really is. People often come to me and they talk about energy vampires and people taking their energy and how bad that person was for taking their energy, but we can protect our energy so that doesn't happen in the first place. So salt baths is great. Grounding your feet on the floor on Mother Earth is great, but also if you do feel like you are around someone who wants to take your energy, firstly, that's a good thing because it means you've got good energy and it means they want. But secondly, you can bubble up your energy. It's a really simple exercise, and it's something to do when you're around lots of people or you're around a certain person who wants your energy. Literally imagine that you are putting yourself in a bubble. So when that person's talking to you or around you, just in your mind, just use your imagination and imagine a giant bubble all around you, and then they can't take your energy. So that's a really good one, but it's simple as well.
Yeah, no, brilliant. That's a good hack for viewers. Take that in. Do that. What else was I going to ask you? So do you have, Tiffany, any kind of maxims or like advice for living life? Like how do you... I'm trying to think what they would be, but what do you have
absolutely there? Absolutely. I mean, as I said, I do have my own intuitives, and then I use my own cards sometimes as well, and I definitely used to use cards a lot when I was starting this journey, just to see to make sure I was on the right path. And I kept pulling this card over and over again when I first started this journey. And if you can imagine, I left a business world. It was quite affluent and very busy, and to start in this world where I didn't know anybody, I didn't know anything, and I didn't really have a client base, if you like. And this card kept coming up, and it said, if you serve a purpose, your purpose will serve you. Right. I didn't quite understand it. And I put it on my fridge, and it sat there for years. And I now realize it means don't chase the money so much. Don't chase the business side. Just serve, just give, do what you would do if money were never invented. Do what you do if it were a Sunday night. And the more you do that, you don't really have to then think about money, because the money just kind of hits you from behind, if you like. It's just there if you're doing the things you love. So if you serve a purpose and then your purpose serves you is a good one. And another one that I found more recently, I kind of go with the times. I find that not not just one client comes to me with a problem. I find that 20 clients have come with a similar issue, and it feels like we're all learning something at the same time. Like we're all feeling the energy from the planet and kind of going through a similar thing, but in a very different way. And a lot of people at the moment are coming to me with their problems. And I suppose a good mantra for me at the moment is to find the peace through the problem. Find the peace through the problem. So don't just come to me with the problem, come to me with the solution. Because if you have a pulse, you have a problem. It's almost to be expected. I think people can find their peace quite easily if their life is good and things are going well and business is working well and the kids are all behaving. But it's about being able to find the peace when there is a problem there. So come with the solution rather than the problem is a good way to think about things. And if you get enough of these hacks under your belt and start practicing the hacks now, the grounding, the bubble of light, a gratitude practice is another good hack, then you have a go-to when there is a problem.
Yeah, that's really good advice. And that has now reminded me to ask you just perhaps briefly about your gratitude and manifestation work. So I am part of a WhatsApp group that you hold at the moment, which is brilliant. And I have to say I dip in and out. So some days I do it, some days I don't. And that's fine, I guess. So daily we get a little message from you, and it might be a little meditation or some sort of video or you talking for a bit. And it's a really simple thing to do. And it's just all often about gratitude, sometimes about connecting with different masters and spirits and things like that, just kind of raising our vibration and therefore making it easier to manifest what we do. So sorry, I've just explained that whole thing.
Thank you. Can I have a cup of tea now?
Yeah. But could you probably speak a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So I learned many years ago that we all vibrate at different levels. This to me was fascinating because it was bringing the science into spirituality, and it was letting people know that what I do is not just hocus pocus. I come from scientific background. And I learned early on that Einstein used to say 100 thank yous every single day. And I learned that he did that to lift his vibration. The more we lift our vibration, the smaller our problems seem, the more we can get through the day in a peaceful way. And then it becomes more easy to manifest our wishes and our dreams. And manifesting is basically like having a wish list. And having your wishes come true. For example, I manifested the house I live in. As I mentioned, I live in 10 acres of woods, which I cannot believe how I manifested that, but I did. I got the exact house of my dreams. I wanted a cottage with wooden beams, a long drive, a private road. I don't know how I did it, but I did. And that was through a gratitude practice every day, because I firmly believe that if we are grateful, we lift. And then if we lift, we can make our wishes come true. So I might say to people, just have a practice 5 minutes every morning. And then they'll say to me, I don't have 5 minutes. And then I say to them, well, set your alarm 5 minutes earlier. Put a reminder in your calendar on your phone to have 5 minutes, because if you haven't got 5 minutes, then I'm going to ask you for 10 minutes because it's quite easy to do. It's just a habit to get into. And they do say that once we have tried a habit for about 3 weeks, it can then become ingrained into our energy. So I'd say to everybody, give it a go. Maybe just 10 thank yous a day. Try with 10. And then see if your vibration starts to lift, and then start making your wishes.
And we can be saying thank you for very small things, like thank you for the hot water in my shower, that the sun came up this morning, well, that's a big thing, but nothing that you have to actually concentrate on that hard. All of those things that just make our day carry on. I'm always doing it for things like electricity, I have to say. And also my bed when I get into it at the end of the day. I'm so grateful for my bed every night. And my lovely covers, all those things.
I think I did the gratitude practice, like a month's worth of gratitude. I did it about four times 1 year. And I must admit, I must have told about 1,000 clients, if not more, to do this gratitude practice. And now it's people's go-to when they're having a hard time in life. They'll say, right, that's it, I'm getting my gratitude journal out. And it's got to the point now where I don't even have to say thank you, because I've done it so many times. I just feel unbelievable gratitude when I turn the tap on and hot water comes out of it. These simple things that we used to take for granted, if you feel gratitude for it, then you'll have more things in your life to be grateful for.
Yeah, it's a simple but such a profound thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And also I think it's quite important for us, particularly, you know, in the West, in England, we live, you know, we are very, very lucky to have all of the things that we do take for granted, such as, you know, running water and electricity and things like that. So I also try and remind myself of that. Great. So Tiffany, is there kind of a book or a resource that you would recommend to people that might be interested in the things that you've been talking about?
Yes. And it follows in quite nicely with what we were just talking about. I would definitely recommend people to do The Magic by Rhonda Byrne. I mean, this is a book that is a gratitude practice, but it makes you do it, because you have to do it every single day, and you do it for 28 days. And each day, Rhonda will make you focus on something different to be grateful for. And she does it in a very clever way. Obviously, I know the science behind what she's doing. So for the reader, like, for example, day one, you have to go and get a rock. And that is how you practice your gratitude. Obviously, I understand why you're putting your energy into this one item that when you pick it up, you will then feel the energy from. But when you're reading the book, you may be thinking, okay, I've got to get a rock. but I would say just trust the process, because it's a very clever process. And it's a 28-day program. And I find by about day 21, day 22, that's when your miracles start to come in. So I definitely recommend for people to do that.
Brilliant. And you have books yourself. Would you like to just mention those that you've written?
Yeah, I've written 3 training courses that are now books. So Psychic Like Me is about how we can all be psychic. And it's not about sitting down with a client and reading their future. It's about increasing your intuition so that you know if that is a good business deal, or if that person is right for me, or should I buy that house. It's a good way to open up your intuition and to learn that is about working with energy points on your body that you can explore. And it's quite a fun way to explore your intuition as well. Like, you can play with your intuition. A lot of people use parking angels. I don't know if you ever have done that.
I use Reiki for traffic quite a lot.
Good one.
Dispersing traffic. That seems to be quite effective.
Yeah. So I say to people to play with their intuition. Where am I going to get a parking space? Or which route should I take to not be in traffic? Or, this is my favorite one, or used to be, where do I stand on the platform to get a seat on the train? And I'll tell you what, it can be a packed train and I always get a seat.
Yeah, excellent.
Always. Yeah,
I love that. But I love how mundane in real life that is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a good game for me, because you normally go and stand next to the person who you know is going to get off at the next stop, and it's a packed train and everyone's glaring at you, and you're like, well, if you used your intuition. So yeah, I've written books called Psychic Like Me, the Chakra Chapter, which is all about the energy points on the body and how we can utilize that in modern day life. And then I've written a healing book as well. So for those people who are interested in natural healing, alternative therapy, how you can use the energies to help to heal others, whether that's emotionally or physically. And I've also written a novel about Lemuria and Atlantis, which is the one. Yes, which is called Lemuria, the Buried Truth, which is the story they gave me when I was on Mount Shasta and wrote it down. So to other people, it's kind of written in a fictional way, but to me, it's all very real.
Yeah, fascinating. I'm going to have to look that one up. I don't have that. And just last, your website, and how can people find you? Should they want readings and all of those things?
Yeah, TiffanyWardle.com. It's quite easy because you can book your own time slot now. So you can book a time that's kind of a good time slot for you, and we can have a video call. So in a way, we're all getting so used to these Zoom calls that
I know, we're
people
pros at
will,
it now. Yeah.
yeah. So people will know that, or you can just have an email reading at first, just to try it out.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, I highly recommend them to everyone watching.
Thank
you so much, Tiffany. It's been lovely talking to you today, as
Yeah, it's been good
always.
to see
Good to see your face. It's so
you. Yeah,
beautiful as
indeed.
always.
Thank you.
That's lovely. Thank you.